My advice to them is hang up the phone, stop calling him, and let this thing ride itself out because he's going to be forced to capitulate. The market and the American people are going to force him to capitulate. Think like Prime Minister Carney. Don't let the guy bully you. Hang up the phone.
Anthony Scaramucci, the former communications director to the White House under Donald Trump, who then became and has become one of Donald Trump's foremost critics. A very good and warm welcome to you, Anthony. Good to have you back on the program.
It's good. It's good to be here on an auspicious day, I guess. But thank you for having me back on.
I'm interested in your definition of auspicious. I mean, you've never struck me as someone who scares easily, Anthony. Are you scared now?
No, I mean, I'm not scared. I've been doing this for 36 years, so I think I've had 9 bear markets. Of course, Wall Street says it's always the 1,000-year flood, except it happens every 4 or 5 years. But the problem with this one is it's completely self-inflicted. There is no reason for this. I mean, the last similar market reaction would have been the COVID-19 story back in March of 2020. So it's almost like Donald Trump has now become the COVID virus. And unfortunately, unlike COVID, there's no cure. I mean, unless the United States, somebody in the United States in their wisdom is going to impose the 25th Amendment and see him out the door, which is unlikely to happen. So, and he's got willing sycophants around him now. I mean, the first term, it was a lot of people that were former Republicans and they were trying to guide him. He would have done all of the stuff that he's doing right now in 2018, but he just didn't have the staff in place to implement it. Yeah. So we're here now, but it's not unfortunately not going to end well. It's going to be very ugly.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would expect you to be unhappy at what you're seeing, but I mean, can anyone be surprised, Anthony? The president couldn't have been more open about his intentions before he was elected. He can claim now, perfectly fairly, claim to say that he's using his democratic mandate the way that he promised to.
Listen, I don't think anybody should be surprised. I mean, this is the reason why I was offering out warnings prior to November the 5th. I said that he would do exactly this, and this would have catastrophic consequences for the markets. It would have catastrophic consequences for the global economy. I mean, if you and I got in a room and said, okay, here's what we need to do. Let's see if we can dismantle the world's trading system, weaken the United States, and let's see if we can disenfranchise ourselves from our European allies and other nations where we had strong, reliant partnerships in. And let's see if we can help the Chinese and the Russians. I don't think you and I could have come up with a better plan. I mean, this took 7 Scaramucci's or 77 days, and this guy is, really hurt the country. And what's astonishing to me is he has very smart people around him that know better. Yeah. But this is an American Brexit. And just stay with me for 1 second. When you guys made the decision to Brexit in the United Kingdom, the economic data was against you. People said, please don't Brexit. You're going to hurt yourselves and you're going to lower your living standards. You guys Brexit. Eight years later, you hurt yourselves and lowered your living standards. And so this is exactly what the United States is doing right now. This is an American Brexit from the global trading community.
Yeah, well, I mean, the election gave its verdicts, and the president is doing what he said he was going to do. As for you want to see a change of course, what hope do you have of that happening? I mean, you made a joke a moment ago about the 25th Amendment of the American Constitution, which allows for the cabinet to get together and say you're not fit for office and kick him out. Well, that ain't going to happen, is it? But what you might see is corporate America getting upset with what's going on and making that very plain. What you might see is the president's poll ratings start to go south. Are those things together, will they be enough to force Donald Trump into a retreat? He's not a man who likes to back off.
I don't think you're going to see the CEOs go after him. I think that they've had a chilling effect on these law firms. I mean, they've gone after a lot of the big law firms and have penalized those law firms for supporting Democratic causes. I mean, just imagine if somebody like Barack Obama did that in reverse from a partisan perspective. So the CEOs are being told by their boards and their corporate councils, don't speak out against them. If you speak out against them, he could come after you. And then the law firms that we would typically use to defend you in your First Amendment rights are going to be chilled. They're not going to want to do that. So I think the more likely story is the poll numbers. And remember, he's hurting American workers. He's trying to say, well, the 1% owns the stock market, but that's categorically not true because firemen, police officers, other service providers have their retirement money locked in these large scale institutional pension funds. And
Yes.
so, he's hurting those people. He's annihilating them. You've taken $8 trillion out of the US market, $13 trillion out of the global market. So at some point, those people will say, okay, enough is enough. And so if he stays on this course trajectory and we're likely now to see a recession, 70% chance to get a recession, even if the Fed starts cutting rates, he'll lose his poll standings. Remember, he's only at 36% approval as it relates to trade. I think the narrative, this is the interesting point about it, the narrative that's being chanted on your sister network, Fox News, et cetera, is actually a false narrative. No, they're not allowing people like myself to come on and provide the counter narrative. So this notion that the tariffs are going to reset the trade system and it's going to reshore manufacturing in the United States, it just doesn't understand the current system in the world. As an example, if you want to purchase a Boeing aircraft, which is an American-made aircraft, 45% of the components are from outside the United States. If you want to add the electronic components like the flat screens that go in the back of the plane or the flat screens that go in the pilot's cockpit, you've got 60+% of the aircraft is actually manufactured outside of the United States and installed here in the U.S. So you're going to knock the price of that airplane up 50 to 60%. He's calling for an additional 50% tariff on April 9th on the Chinese. So that's an 84% tariff. China is the Saudi Arabia of manufacturing. So whether you like that or not, that's where we are. He could have achieved his goals doing something more moderate. And he probably could have touched off an economic boom, but now he's going to cause a global recession.
Right. Okay, we'll see how the American public react to all of this then. Now, the president's ratings, his economic trust rating among American voters has already dipped. And maybe, we'll see, maybe they'll dip further in the light of all the turmoil that's going on today and yesterday, maybe tomorrow and the day after that. But we're still the best part of 2 years away from the midterm elections. Is it going to make a difference? Donald Trump is saying, look, this is all going to work out in the end. He means to say, hang tough. That was his expression. He wants to ride this out. Do you hold out any hope in your own mind of a change of course?
But you have to, again, when he says to hang tough, okay, what is the expected outcome? What is he looking for? He had that tablet. He was like the evil orange Moses with the 10 evil commandments, the tablet he's holding up in the air. None of it made any sense. The calculations that he put on the tablet had really nothing to do with the tariffs. He was implying false math related to quote unquote trade barriers. He was imputing numbers associated with your VAT as an example. A lot of the stuff that he was doing with the tariff numbers doesn't make any sense. So what is the outcome? He's saying that if somebody goes to zero tariffs, it's not enough. He had Peter Navarro out saying if the Cambodians or the Vietnamese went to zero tariffs, it wouldn't be enough for them. So you'd have to tell me when he's saying to hang tough, tell me the perfect outcome for Donald Trump. What is it he's looking for? He said last night on Air Force One on the way back to D.C. that I guess he wants reparations from the EU. What does he mean? Does he want the EU to pay back the money that was spent in the Marshall Plan in the 1940s and the early 1950s? In other words, no one is holding him into account for what is the outcome, sir.
All right.
So what is the best outcome that you're looking for? And the answer is he doesn't even know what it is.
Okay.
So that's why the markets are so uncertain.
Right. So if he doesn't know, in your view, I'm guessing the answer to the next question, which is, what do you think he wants to do, is I don't know either. Because one cabinet minister will say, 1 minute, it is about forcing countries to the negotiating table. Then another, the Commerce Secretary, will say it is about tearing down the economic order and rebuilding it to the advantage of America. I mean, I guess you would have no clue either as to what Donald Trump wants to achieve from all of this, except maybe force trading partners into submission.
But again, I don't even know what that means because you're going to. He's saying even a zero tariff isn't enough for him. So I get. Let me posit it this way, and I'll ask you to consider it this way. The United States in the 50-year period of time, alongside of the EU, Asian nations, let's call it the free world, set up a trading system. It's a system that has been tinkered with over the 80-year period of time.
Yeah.
Some adjustments would need to be made. If you want to make the system fairer to the Americans, we originally set it up so that it would be uneven for the Americans. We wanted rising living standards around the world, and so we allowed goods and services to flow into the U.S. relatively unfettered. We accepted tariffs from other countries. If you're now saying, well, we want reciprocal tariffs and it needs to be fair trade as opposed to the trading system that we set up, okay, but let's do that surgically, and let's do that with moderation, and let's do that with appropriate guidance so you don't shake $8 trillion out of the stock market. So again, I mean, but look, he's about attention. And so I think your viewers and listeners should pay attention to what I'm about to say. He just wants you talking about him. He's absolutely thrilled that he has Wall Street upset and he's got the banking community upset. And you and I are sitting here on this radio show talking about him because that's like the number one thing he wants. If he wanted to solve a problem, he certainly would not handle it this way with this level of hostility, the bellicosity of rhetoric.
Okay. So
the lack of
attention is its own reward. In just a few seconds, if you can, and again, great to talk to you as always. What, in a nutshell, would be your advice then, Anthony, to those overseas leaders? We're told are queuing up, trying to get Donald Trump on the phone. What should they be saying in a nutshell?
I wouldn't be calling him. Actually,
No, we're told they're calling him. What should they say to the president?
Well, my advice to them is hang up the phone, stop calling him, and let this thing ride itself out because he's going to be forced to capitulate. The market and the American people are going to force him to capitulate. Think like Prime Minister Carney. Don't let the guy bully you. Hang up the phone. That